Good morning, everyone. It is Rachel Moriarty, and I'm taking over today. And I'm excited to do an interview with Kelly O'Neill from Design Legacy. So I'm gonna wait a few minutes to see if he hops on. And then, hey, Joseph, let me wave. Say hi as you pop on, and let's see. Texas Benders. Okay. Perfect. Give me a second. Hi, Dev Agency. Good morning.
Good morning.
Who do we have here?
This is Dexter. Dexter came to work today.
Hi, Dexter.
Hey. And this is Leah.
Wow, look at this behind. Look at this. Michelle Harris McAllister saying hi to you and your dogs.
Hey, Michelle. How's everybody this morning?
Great. What are you showing us? Tell us where we are and what we're going to be talking about today.
Thanks for being here, and anyone that knows me well knows I have a hard time sitting still, so I'm going to do my best to be in one place for a minute. And that place right now is my art studio. So, which is
awesome.
Kind of a mess. I think Stephanie's on camera here, so she'll give you guys kind of an overview of that madness shortly. And I thought what we'd do is we'd start here, if that's okay.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
And talk art sort of freely and how that process works to the trade. And then we'll move to our collection of natural history goods, how the company started, and then I sort of set up an overview of textiles, which I think you'll be excited about. Just having seen your colorful world.
Perfect. So what are you standing in front of right now? Is that something?
I am. So we're in the studio, and these are walls where I'm working, and a lot of these pieces are near completion or completed. So I filtered out some of the things that are really not near completion in case someone wanted to see completed works. Then here are a few. These are abstracts on canvas, and I guess we'll just jump right into that thought because a lot of my artwork began as a need for the interior design trade. So we had a nice collection of home furnishings with Nancy Price out of Jackson, Mississippi, and her look was very stark and simple, but Nancy and I are both big art lovers and collectors, and we needed artwork for the walls to go with the collection, so I pulled my paintbrushes out and went back to painting.
Amazing.
I am a trained graphic designer. That was my degree, and I took that into forming the company that we now have, Design Legacy, but branches of that have been spun off and into designer collections and other things and formats that are not necessarily so graphic, but we do get softer. But coming back to the artwork, so my art is all one of a kind. It is painted to order, or commission as we say in the art world, and if you like a piece, I typically can paint that piece to your color palette and your size and your specifications. So the pieces that you see here, for instance, could just be black and white versions of these pieces, or they could be your own color palette. And how that's typically done, being a trained designer myself, I ask for either planning packets or color swatches or paint swatches from a paint company that you commonly use, Jones Blair, whatever, and then begin painting. It's sort of sets off a text war, for lack of a better word. And I communicate back and forth with the designer and make sure the client's happy before the piece gets stretched and shipped.
So that's where I wanted to ask you, because I recently just finished a project and I commissioned 8 pieces from a local designer here in San Diego, and that's exactly what I did. Is I sent over the concept boards. We loved her style, so we didn't want to drive that. We wanted them to allow the muse to come, obviously. But it was great because I was just able to send over the concept boards, and we said just work within this color palette. And
Sure.
some of them were heavy in blues and some of them were heavy in reds, but they all worked together. It was so nice to get a collection of 8.
Yeah, that's very typical in my realm as well. I have done whole homes, whole office suites, a lot
That's
of
awesome.
commercial art, and I think I might vary from most artists in that I have a business to back me up and a great team that does the stretching and framing and the sorting and the culling and the
That's
massive
awesome.
information necessary for it, but also scale. Largest painting I've done is about 12 by 24 feet, and the sky's the limit really for me. So it has really great commercial application too.
That's amazing.
And I think with me too, the difference is I know the backside of the industry, so I have the designer speak down to say the least. So I think it takes the painful part of that out, because we artists are known for being a little flaky. So I try to put my business hat on too.
So good. Well, I love this piece behind you. It's so vibrant.
Yeah, I grabbed that one because of you. I thought
Oh,
you and your color addiction, we both have that. So it's something we have in common.
now this is funny. Does anybody come to you? I have people come to me specifically because of color phobia. And they live in kind of a brown town and they really want some vibrancy in their life. But it's funny because they'll come to me for color, and then like literally after the service agreement is signed and I get the retainer, they get cold feet and they're like, well, not too much color. So it's funny how you attract it and then they get so nervous.
Well, I think I do agree with that, and that most of my design clients are very they're basic. So I mean, I'm sure you have the same pattern. I try to slowly inject the crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's an unwise decision to oftentimes go with more basic upholstery when
Right.
a client feels that. But
Sure.
I also think your job as a designer and my job as a designer is to push people beyond their comfort zone and to give them some sort of freedom to be expressive, not just a Restoration Hardware catalog shoot. So, and that's unfair to Restoration Hardware. They do a beautiful job with what they do, but I think
No, exactly. They're in their lane. They're great.
But I do think, yes, at times it is hard to get people to express their wild side because I think they, and especially for me with a lot of higher end clients, they're afraid of that. They really want to be that sort of safe, traditional sort of, when you see my home, it expresses that I am safe and traditional sort of thought. But, luckily in today's world, I think we've been home staring at these things so much, and I promised we weren't going to talk about COVID. But I think we can all agree that we've been home staring at brown and gray long enough. And Julia Buckingham and I had a conversation about this because I had an art opening at her store in Arizona. And her comment, well, I said, do you think we should go forward with it? This was pre-shutdown. And she said, yes, because I think if at any time we ever needed color and happy, it's right now. And I agree. I think that's going to be a continual stretch into the market. I think, and the other thing is the benefit for art and accessories, which is something we excel at, I think, Design Legacy, is that they will experiment a little more with the artwork and the pillows and the things than they will with the sofa. So
yeah.
while we do crazy wild sofas, it's not our big seller really, and understandable.
Yeah, it's very niche. It's very niche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I I I'm seeing some of that reticence sort of go away, but I'm also seeing maybe a comeback to more traditional. I'm doing a very traditional home right now, so but I love the fact that people are asking to throw some more contemporary features into that, and I think that again, that's my wheelhouse. Yes, I can do a boring landscape, but at the same time, I prefer to do this.
I just think I honestly I hope this color becomes more popular. This kind of reds, I mean yellow saffrony. I feel like it's so happy. I feel like this is exactly what we need right now.
It's interesting you mentioned yellows. Why did you bring that up? Is that your thought?
No, you know what?
This?
I have a craving for it. We weren't going to talk about the C word, but like in my kitchen, I'm like, I could really use a bright yellow range in here because our kitchen was sort of our sanctuary and our healing place and where we connected and we showed love and kind of got through things. And I was thinking, God, it would just be so happy to have this like pop of yellow in here, And so it's just been, to me, it just represents like happiness and cheerfulness and energy, and it's like a sun salutation.
For me, it's orange. It's always
That's I love. So I use a lot of blue, and because I use a lot of blue, I always use a lot of orange. It's just my natural.
Yeah, they're compatible.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You're gonna like the color story I've laid out for you in textiles, which
oh, so excited.
So how have you found your design business in these times? Do you find it more challenging?
Really good. I mean, just like you said, people are sitting at home and literally they're like, oh my gosh, the kids, the husband, everyone's home. I can't think, everything's chaotic, So it's been kind of that a little room by roomy, but I'm really busy.
Yeah. So do you find yourself coming back to that comment of, Browntown, when you enter a project and the client has brought their own references, hopefully they usually do, which I encourage anyone to. Are they largely bringing you Crazy Colorful, or are they bringing you Browntown again?
Browntown. So, which is funny because I'm like, why there's so much of me out there. I'm like, why are you bringing, like there's so many other people that do this much better. But I think they really crave color, and I will, what I always do is that's why I use a lot of blue, because I feel like blue is so timeless and iconic. That's what they're worried about. They're worried about trendy and something, their investment getting old. And, I'm like, blue is like the classic sports coat. It's never going to go out ever. It's never been trendy, and it's never, it never has gone out or in. It's just always there.
I'm a blue kind of guy, blue, black, tan.
I just love it. I think I use a lot of it because it's like a way for people to kind of dip their toe into the color world.
And so you called yourself in something the Kimono Queen, which I thought was great. So you have a thing.
Yes, I live in kimonos.
You have Stephanie's pointing and saying that you have one on now.
Yes, I do. I'm showing my kimono sleeves.
I mean, they're quite addictive, I have to say, as an antique collector. They're incredible.
Yes.
The work on the colors is so phenomenal.
So there's a question from Michelle McAllister. She wants to know what you have in common with Nicole Kidman.
Oh, thanks for that prod, Michelle. So she's my half sister. No, I'm kidding. She can I say masturbation? She masturbated in front of one of my paintings on Big Little Lies. And I'm not kidding. My art is featured on the set of Big Little Lies, and that scene on the bed, that famous scene with her on live chat with her husband. We're not going to do that today, but
That is hilarious. Thanks, Michelle, for that question.
Thank you, Michelle. But yeah, there's a lot of work in the Big Little Lies set, which has been really. It's not a big business driver, but for an artist, it's thrilling to see on screen.
That's cool. Yeah, that's way cool.
So
Amazing.
I'm working on a bath remodel right now, and in my head, I want the client to, and she's probably watching, to take a chance and go a little colorful. But I find myself reeling myself back in the planning stages of that, and I'm coming back to that sort of gray and white base for everything and popping it with colors again, because I just feel like, yes, there's a need to energize your surroundings with color, but I think that, we're still all on cautionary mode. So I think maybe that laying that good, solid, simple basis is still a good
that's yeah, I feel like that's what I do a lot. I tell people to look, actually, because they'll be like, oh my God, all this color. And I'm like, actually look at if you took this pop and this layer and this, it's actually, the envelope is pretty neutral. And I feel very safe doing that for a client, because I feel like I can move the project forward.
It's your job too, right?
And my job is to get, to move things forward. And I feel like if I use that strategy, we don't get stuck in like overwhelm and anxiety and all those things.
Well, and so I also, in my homework for setting this up, I looked at your Instagram page, and I do see a sort of similarity in our design thought process, and I think it comes back to that old phrase: a good designer can do any look. And I think a good designer's job is to make sure that look is somewhat timeless and can be bent without a complete remodel in the future. So, to freshen up.
So your personal style, is your personal style more maximalist and layered? Are you pared down, or what is your, because I feel like nobody would ever do my personal style. My personal style is like high-low, thrift store finds, it's like crazy. Nobody would ever do my style.
I think probably you can get a peek into that on my Instagram feed, but yeah, I have an addiction. My name is Kelly, and I'm an addict, and I'm addicted to stuff. And I've collected art since I was a college kid, so I still have a piece I bought in college that I love. And I am high-low. I don't think art has to be expensive to be great.
Yeah.
Nor do I think that about furnishings. I think furnishings can be, like you said, a great thrift store find, or a really, I have a Warhol, for instance. So I'm all over that, really. But I think my aesthetic, for me personally, is definitely ADD. In that my own home is one room is very simple, and one room is over the top and crazy and layered up. Because and mainly the room that we spend the most time in, our media room, is layered up with collections of things, because I spend as much time staring at those as the television. So, I think any good designer probably is a good collector too, and that I think if you don't have a sense of the history of things, not just for instance, I'm obsessed with art history, but the history of objects I think is important. Why do I collect religious art? I'm not an extremely conformed, organized religious sort of person, but I am obsessed with religious art. So, but I think the history of art is largely formed in that. That and cave paintings, obviously. So there's a reason designers are obsessed with things, I think. And it's not just, coming back to a phrase a friend's mom said once. She asked her mom, her elderly mom, why she didn't just reward herself and buy something she admired. And she said, because you have to own it, and I can appreciate it sitting there. I have to own it.
Right.
So I can continue to appreciate it, because I just really, I take joy in things, and I know that's in today's world maybe a horrible thing to say, but if it gives you joy, get it, do it, because
I know. Well, we're hunter. I'm a treasure huntress. I've been thrift stores. I had no idea that skill would help me at like later in life at High Point Market. You know what I mean? If
right,
I
yeah.
could go back and tell my 12-year-old self, like, yes, dig in.
I I agree. I mean, I think it comes back to the history of things, and I think there's nothing more inspiring than the past for me. I mean, you'll see when we get into the textile realm of this where that has led me, and I will caution you about your addiction. You may have a 20,000 square foot warehouse full of collections.
I know.
Okay, so do you want to sort of move on to phase two, which
Yeah,
is
let's go.
textile inspiration? So I'm going to ask Stephanie, who's my right-hand man here, to follow with the tool in her hand and sort of hit some highlights on the way out, if that's okay.
Perfect.
All right, let's go.
Let's go.
So you can see here in the work, I'm working on some sculptural things. This Buddha is sort of layered
Oh
up
my
over
gosh, I
time.
love it.
Some of these things are done for my Santa Fe store, and some are being worked on for High Point Market.
Wow.
And ignore the dust bunnies. I did try to erase that. And so the graphic sort of abstract is kind of my thing. It can be your color palette. This one is on a thick, almost 3-inch stretcher. We make all our stretchers here, and frames, so we can do any sort of stretching and framing process you like. And Stephanie, hit this one. So this is a series called Postcards from the Edge, and this one, I'll take your own features and your state or whatever is personal to you and do a similar painting.
Oh my gosh.
Obviously, this one is about Florida. This one's being ready for High Point. These are very popular. They're great gamers and kids' rooms things. A sort of more traditional botanical here. I did this with you in mind because you and I share a love of Frida Kahlo. I almost
Oh yes.
on your page. And then this is a new ancestral.
Oh wow.
Series I'm working on, which is graffiti over antique photos and religious again. This one is for my Santa Fe store, so they're big on religious things there. And then this is from my Back to the Cave painting comment. The next one is from my Return to Lascaux series, so it's also graphic and sort of inferred mess of things. And this one's done over this really great handmade paper that
love it.
And then I do, classic nudes, if you want to pan down to those, Stephanie. Now you're really going to see the grit of it all because
I love looking behind the scenes. I feel like it's
that's the point of things, isn't it?
It's so fun for me.
That's why I was not so worried about you coming here. I thought it would be more interesting here than in a showroom.
Yes, this is great.
So from here we go to sort of the roots of design legacy, which this is a collection that I've built since I was a child, and it's the entire cabinet is stuffed full of
papers,
prints, graphic images
of
all genres. So design legacy really was sort of born of that. You can see I have maybe 10,000 images at this point.
Wow.
So where that went originally was into, Stephanie, toss me that pillow behind you. Since we started as a pillow company, it went to customizable pillows. And so a crab may be a bad example for you specifically, but let me have
I love it.
That one next up. So you can take any image from that library, which is online, and make a pillow or a wall chart, which I'll show you, or a stretch piece of art. From there, we got into the textile business. So this was a pillow originally, and we got so many requests for it as yardage that we started a yardage program.
Yes.
So from this came this.
To that. Wow.
And online, you can see this or this.
Wow.
So ones that we have made already are online. So after pillows, we rolled into the traditional sort of school.
Oh my gosh.
So, and that went crazy as well because AED.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I thought you would like this one.
Oh my.
So, traditional Mexican folk art.
Oh my gosh.
In this one, I'm making this one for my Santa Fe store. We dropped in a sort of vintage Santa Fe at the bottom. So
oh my gosh.
Can be customized to size, to color, to text. We can put important dates or, the children's names often we do for their rooms.
Oh.
A city.
Goosebumps.
We have a big account for the retail, if anyone's watching at retail, and they are in
Keene, New York.
Keene, New York, and what's the name of it?
Dartbrook Rustic Goods.
Dartbrook Rustic Goods. Anyway, you guys might want to follow it. It's a really amazing store for rustic look.
Wow.
So from there, we have had an incredible run with these. We make them all here. They're all printed here, aged here, assembled here, and they come either with a Design Legacy plate that says made stateside since 1989, which is true, or without. You don't have to have that plate. And there's a pretty decent library of those online, I think, but for the most part, if you look at the image library and then tell us what you want to do with the thing, we can help you map it out from there. We are customization. That's what Design Legacy is. We're not the point and click company, although there are probably, how many pillows online, Stephanie?
God,
600 maybe?
No, there's more than that.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
There are a lot of pillows and a lot of charts and a lot of fabrics, but just remember, and I'll keep coming back to this, if you like this, but you want an orange version, we got you. That's what we do. And I think for the design trade, which I'm assuming is largely what we're speaking to here, that for me is really important because coming back to the Browntown comment, I think you and I can morph this to whatever it needs to be.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And that's important today. I think giving someone their own personality in their interiors in a way that no one else has it is really impossible. And today with Design Legacy, it's possible. So.
And this is the thing, Kelly, that's coming up to me is just as a designer, and I'm sure you've come across this time and time again working with designers, we can never leave well enough alone. So I love, it can be perfect and we want to change still or customize something, or there's always we always want to tweak something, even if it's perfect, right? And I love that we're able to do that.
Yeah, and I think that is our sickness. I think you're right, we can't leave well enough alone. I mean, I am constantly creating. We're going to walk through my storyboards for High Point over here just quickly in a little bit. But I mean, it's a constant morphing and changing, and I think for me that healthy purging of a thought is really great. And of course, the slowdown in markets has been a real challenge for me, so in that respect. But I think, yeah, you have to think of it in a personal way, and that's a good designer's job. A good designer's job is to interpret what someone else has done in a way that means something special to that client. So
Right.
If you're not doing that, you're not doing your job. Because our job isn't just to copy someone else. It's
right.
To, be inspired by someone else, and I hope that today some of you are.
Oh my gosh. So inspired. Over inspired. This is fabulous.
Okay. So we're going to go from wall charts, which can also, by the way, be stretched and framed. We don't just make charts. And we can do them on paper, under glass. Anything we do is available any way you want it, because that's what we do here. We're going to go from there to this sort of painted furniture idea. I'm sorry to jump around, but again, what I do. So in artwork, what's next is hand-painted pieces.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, this is a bench I've just completed. It can be a painting for your wall. And yes, we can print this as a pillow. We can engineer it for wall covering or for upholstery or whatever in the printed form. But I'm very excited about the hand-painted pieces because, again,
That is phenomenal. What is the
one of a
base?
kind.
I'm trying to see what the base is.
I should have ripped that off. It's a wooden frame, but we also do a nice sleek metal
Oh,
made domestic.
beautiful.
There's the top.
That is phenomenal.
But again, it doesn't have to be this painting. Someone can pick a painting from my library online and say, I would like to have this in a bench of this size, or give me some direction.
Oh my gosh. That's a must-have.
It's been really well received. It's kind of been at the market. We sell every piece that I show there, so we're ready for another market.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I can't breathe. I see some, oh my gosh.
Okay, so jumping back to my image library, which is largely vintage. There aren't many current thoughts in that cabinet, but this is where Design Legacy started. This is one of our first patterns. It's herbs, It's natural history. This is one of our first patterns, which is blue coral. It also comes in orange, which is pretty striking, by the way. And then this one was one of our first patterns. So what our first patterns
my gosh.
were, because for me, as a designer, the graphic scale of things was important. And this has a 9-foot repeat. Is that how long this is?
Wow.
Yeah. So that created problems for some people. And this is a messed up piece here. Don't ignore the print stripes. This created problems for furniture makers who really want to stay in the 1970s and keep their patterns small.
Yeah.
So a lot of our patterns came back to their 24-inch, is that right, Steph? Repeat or so, 20 to 30. And then from there, today, we have scaled a lot of them down to even mini scale. So that is the same pattern.
Oh my gosh.
Now this is a really good representation of the white background or the natural linen background, which you can see. Stepping and zooming on this. One has a more organic directive, and then the other is a little more crisp and clean and modern.
Wow.
And this particularly gets important when we get to the more contemporary patterns. So we
Kelly,
go from...
I'm dying.
I'm
dying.
to be colorful for you. Am I doing good?
Oh my gosh.
So go back on that over there, Steph. So from there,
oh my gosh.
I'm going to cut in the screen here. Again, back to the white ground. Which
oh my gosh.
this
Michelle Harrison McAllister's dying over these too.
Michelle, I haven't seen you in so long. I'm missing everybody.
Everyone, right?
Everyone. That's why these things are healthy right now.
Yeah.
So this is the linen version of that.
Oh my gosh.
This pattern is Oaxaca, and this one sort of was calling your name, so I pulled it
I'm
out.
obsessed with that. Yes.
So we went from this sort of natural history and vintage, sort of modern vintage, and then we have moved into folk art, another obsession of mine.
Yes.
In so many forms. This one is pretty
wonderful. This is all very Southern California too. That's what I love about it.
Is it?
Oh yeah, because we have a lot of haciendas and Mexican inspired
Yeah.
interiors, Spanish revival.
Well, so I was hesitant about this for the overall market because it makes sense in Texas also for that reason.
Oh,
It's
right,
big.
right, right.
You know,
Yeah,
we're
no,
very
this is
proud of our
fabulous.
heritage and friends here, but I think for the overall market, I was hesitant because I felt like it was a little folk arty.
Oh
But
my
Design
gosh.
Legacy is color, so we jumped in and it's been really well received.
I
So
think my favorite part is how organic your story is. Like I started with this and then we went to pillows and then we went to textiles and then we went to art, and I just love how everything just has a flow to it.
well, so it's attention deficit disorder and a textile. Okay, so then we jump into Renee and I, my partner, love to travel, so we're out and about a lot, and a lot of the things that became patterns were inspired by those travels. A trip to Mexico City, India, which we used to import a great deal from, and the obvious is the local Texas inference, but there's a lot of beach-related things just inspired from those trips because I'm a beach lover. So I think the line sort of reflects me over time and my life over time too. So again, it's a healthy purge. Is that a safe term?
I love it.
So we have gone from that to this more global sort of inference, and this is getting into a blue story, but you can see this
Oh my gosh.
again, larger scale pattern.
Obsessed with that.
Blue colorway of this is really popular.
Yes, I'm
And they are
obsessed.
really early mogul horsemen. And I think, Steph, if you want to zoom in on this blue and yellow pattern that I pieced together, her.
Oh my gosh.
And so you see here a bit of an overview of what Design Legacy is. We're cultural. We're vintage. This is the same pattern on the dark.
Wow.
We are artwork, which I do the handwork for a lot of these patterns.
Oh my gosh.
We are natural history.
Oh,
Now,
Joseph
breaking that down into categories.
Joseph's asking if we can get a closer shot on the blue and white of the horses.
Anything for Joseph.
Oh, those are phenomenal.
Thanks. Yeah, we're really proud of this. So Stephanie, who's also cameraman today, is my Photoshop guru, and she takes all of these inspirations and makes them something wonderful. Now, what you may be able to see, Steph, if you can zoom in right on this. So this is important because I don't like just a dumb, basic thrown-in background.
Yeah.
We actually watercolor and or engineer a background that is
Oh
not
my
so
gosh.
grocery store. So it really has some depth to it when you get into it.
Beautiful.
And I don't know the lime green version. We might have to pull that. Show
Michelle and
There's
I are doing
really
a road
bright
trip.
green.
We're doing a road trip to see you.
Oh, you are? Okay. Come on. So, speaking of Michelle's, we then decide to jump off and do some licensing. And Michelle Nussbaumer and Denise McGahey are close friends here in Dallas and partners in crime. And so we have a license collection with Denise McGahey and with Michelle Nussbaumer. They're at Denise McGahey on Instagram and at Michelle Nussbaumer. And Michelle's amazing store, Ceylon ACA, is really so incredible. And speaking of road trips, it's worth the road trip.
Oh my gosh, I can imagine.
She is also a big traveler, and so she has brought a collection of her own to us that's very and I wish you could see the large repeat of this. I
Oh,
just have one here. She is very traveled and inspired. Her mantra is, help me, Stephanie.
Wanderlust.
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 She
I
has
have
a
her book in
wanderlust.
my office. I love that
And
book.
her book is, yes, titled to that. So her layered up back to maximalism thought
Yes.
is really all about that. And it's all sorts of vintage inspiration and global sort of inferences.
I
We were
love that.
really, Michelle was the first licensor with us, and we felt like it was the most compatible because she loves a layered up colored vest.
Yes.
And she does it better than anyone, really.
Oh my gosh.
I think her particular willingness and ability to sort of jump boundaries is so inspiring. It's just great to be around those types of
It's
people.
like fearless. She's so
It is
fearless about
totally.
her.
That's a
Yeah.
great one. So, this thought is taken from early Southern Indian artwork, and we patched up originals that she owns and made a beautiful pattern of this. So this one is called Kama, K-A-M-A. And I can't even remember why, but and then so she brought she wanted to do some sort of African inspired patterns, and this is
Cape Dove.
Cape Dove.
Phenomenal.
The colorways
Oh
on
my
this
gosh.
are incredible as well. So they're all very happy and bright and colorful, and this it has become sort of a basic in the line at this point. It mixes so freely with everything we do.
Oh
And coming
my
back
gosh.
to that color pop thought, it's really that easy thing to drop a spot of color in. So in this pillow, you can see that we've done ticking back. So
Clutch the pearls. Love it.
right. So you can. This is just a little teaser. You can add tassels. I noticed you and I love tassels.
Oh
So
my
you have
god.
lots of tassel options. And
Oh my gosh.
big layered ones. And trims and cords and all sorts of things. We've got these pretty rayon sort of dip-dyed ones that are kind of happy and cool.
Oh my gosh.
I'm kind of crazy for these.
I love those.
Let's see how isn't that great? And look how
my gosh, they're gorgeous.
Well, so
put a tassel on it.
Just put a tassel.
15 minutes. 15 minutes.
Okay. So next we go to Denise McGay. Stephanie's pointing to Denise. I'm trying to find what else is Denise is here.
The dogs.
Here we go. So Denise McGay, again at Denise.
Okay, I love her daily life, her daily Instagram stories.
I do too. Denise is a trip. Now, so Denise is with us because Denise brings a really current perspective. And could I, as a designer, do that? Yes, but I'm trying to stay in my own wheelhouse here.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
what Denise brings for us is the same sort of organic thought and origin, but she brings a modern take on that. So
Yes.
she wanted a pattern that was an animal print, for instance, but not necessarily an animal print. So we formed this pattern called
Continuance.
Continuance.
Mm.
And this
Thank you,
one
Stephanie.
this one called
Array.
Array.
Wow.
And this one forms a really wonderful stripe, and if you look on her page, you can see she did her master path out of this as well. In the black and white it was, right? So it's really been kind of a joy to work with her on her line because it forces me again out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
Makes me think differently. And
Yes.
I think if anything, as a designer, we should be forced to think differently again.
Oh my gosh. I love the get uncomfortable and stay uncomfortable.
So Denise's collection is very contemporary and at the same time more organic. She has a pattern called Beta. That is, she wanted a pattern based on the flow of a beta fish's tail.
Ah,
So I did these sort of hand painted, sort of brush strokey things, and I think that's 3 or 4 years in now. And the other hazard of this is there are a lot of emulators in the business, so
yeah,
probably see a similar, but it's not as good as ours.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then I'm going to come back to scale here because this is another good, for instance, the seahorse pattern is
Oh,
really popular with us.
oh my
So this
gosh.
is him in full scale on natural linen. And
Beautiful.
he has a lot of, I'm going to zoom in close, a lot of speckles and
Oh,
problems in
yeah.
there that we love as
Love.
organic folks. And I think
Yes.
that makes it a little more livable. But then we
Yes.
come to a white ground where we clean that up. And
Oh my gosh.
this is the mini scale, which you just introduced of that. So from afar, it's just a pattern, right?
Yes.
But up close,
How
it's
fun.
one of our favorite sea creatures. So,
Oh,
okay. And then
love.
so the next phase of textiles was just simply artwork. So this is the paper format for one of our patterns that was
Beautiful.
done here. So we got salt on it. This for another tassel.
Oh my gosh.
So this is the actual painted canvas where I did the artwork,
Oh my gosh.
and
I
then we
love that
engineered it
so much.
into a pattern. Yeah, this one's spinning too. And then I got a little more contemporary and did formations, which
Wow.
is again just artwork.
Unbelievable.
Stephanie does a beautiful job of translating these into patterns.
That is stunning.
You can see Brighter Happier, but there are
Oh,
about 20 art patterns as well.
oh my
Stephanie, stay where
gosh.
you are. I'm going to grab this piece right here. So this is Beta. This is the one that I mentioned earlier. This is Denise's Beta fishtail, and this one might be too light. I don't know if it's registering.
Oh my gosh. I
But isn't it
love
pretty?
that.
So this is the full scale, which is grand, and then the
Beautiful.
small scale is tiny. But we've done a lot of upholstery with this pattern. It really makes a contemporary statement. And I think this one kind of reads as a more basic pattern when treated properly. We have a gray version of it, for instance, that's really sort of subtle and contemporary.
Yes.
So we do have that basic thought, but in our own way,
Yeah, I love it.
which is important. Got to make it your own.
Getting lots of hearts. We're getting lots of hearts.
Yay. Okay, so here is, stay there. Here is a stretch textile, which, again,
Dying.
lots of people love that our textile, they love them so much they frame them. So that, for me, is a compliment. This one we've just stretched and is going to be framed.
Okay, what is that like colorful, like chinoiserie? What is?
This one is really old Chinese paper cuts. It's a
Oh my gosh.
and I collected them when we were in China years ago, and we formed a pattern from that.
Getting lots of hearts on that one. That is gorgeous.
Yeah, this one is called Mandarin Brights,
Oh,
and there are colorways in this also. So there's a solid blue that's really exceptional, I think.
beautiful.
But it's pretty, isn't it?
That would look good in my house.
Coming back to my orange, I mean, I think patterns like this are really easy to form a decor around because you throw that somewhere and pull out the right color, and I think it's a done deal, right?
So Joseph's asking, what's the grading on these?
Grading? Does he say grading?
Yeah, grading.
Grading.
I don't know what does he mean. Can you use it on upholstery or?
Maybe he means rating. So I'm assuming that's what you mean, Joseph. Yes, you can use it on upholstery. We do it all day, every day. Some people are a little uncomfortable putting linen on to upholstery, so it can be backed. If you would rather have a full, sort of live on it every day. But really, if you're concerned about where to go with the linen, because of course it hides more problems over time, the white background is a little more not the way I live. You saw my background.
Right.
So, but I do sell a lot of white ground, and for me, rating is kind of not all it's cracked up to be because it just depends on the pattern. So,
Yeah.
you can see that this, sure, we can say it's going to wear well, but it is white. So, while this fabric is rated higher for durability, it's white. So
Yeah,
it's going
yeah.
to have problems
Yeah,
inside it.
yeah.
But, this one, of course, linen over time, you know what linen does. We love it more. So,
Yeah.
I think that
That's
must
why I
be what
love
he's
some of
asking.
those natural.
So Stephanie's going to pan across my study boards for High Point. This is just for High Point Market. So I'm
Wow.
blessed with the brand space I can do this in.
Oh my gosh. This is so fun. Thank you so much.
This little corner is for Santa Fe.
Wow.
The store. Mostly my projects I'm doing on the digital format. Have you embraced that yet? Really?
Digital? Yes.
Yeah.
So this,
For your
I used to do
presentation?
this when I worked in, I used to be in fashion and advertising. And so this
Yeah.
is like how we used to do pagination and all this. But yeah, I've gone digital since.
Well, it's hard for me in the realm of something as big as High Point because we have 9,000 square feet there. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to make use of things that I've had for a previous market sometimes.
Yes.
Or constant sellers in the line. So my ability to move those around physically is way more, I think.
I love this though. This is great.
Healthy. It's healthier for me because I can.
Yeah.
And then I think last, if you're ready, we can go to the warehouse for a minute and I'll show you some upholstery.
Absolutely.
Okay. How much time do we have?
We have 9 minutes before
8 minutes.
Instagram cuts us off. 8 minutes.
Okay. We're gonna move fast.
This is so fun.
So this is the
Wow.
balance of the business, of course. The warehouse is always gets the last bit of energy.
I love it.
So this is my little sewing workroom where the girls do pillows and face masks, which we're doing now.
Oh, yeah, I saw your face mask.
This is a larger table where I do some of my pieces begin as pours, so this is where I start those.
Wow.
And then forget the mess, it's a constant mess here. But this is where the real work is done. And
Yes.
Say hi, girls.
Hi.
Someone's stools over there. And then these are just some of the pieces that the girls upholster here. So this is a vintage chair. It's
My
made
gosh.
vintage
Die.
house from India. So this is going to the store. It's got this great new
Die.
pattern with Buddhist imagery.
It's like functional art, which is, I love that.
Thank you. That's the way I see it. This is a Denise McGahey pattern, which we're putting onto this big round grand ottoman. Stephanie
That
Payne.
is so cute.
Lodi.
Lodi, L-O-D.
Lodi, okay. That's
And
adorable.
It's a traditional Indian lotus.
Yes.
Layered into this pattern, this basket weave on the back. Zoom in on that, Steph, because I love the ground on this one. Again, we felt it was kind of boring without some sort of detail.
Right. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh, that's gorgeous.
This is, the next bench is Oaxaca.
San
again.
Miguel.
San Miguel, sorry. Which is on our
Oh my gosh.
darker linen. A Michelle Nussbaumer pattern on this banquette that we do.
Beautiful.
There's a nice little curve about it. I'm crazy about this pattern just because
Oh my gosh.
I love script. So
Love that.
it's taken from an early love poem. And this is sort of back to our basic hardnet sitting on end. It's an old sample that I had here. Back
Beautiful.
to our natural situation. So this one is, what's this one called, Steph?
Moths.
Moths. They're not
Stephanie is like, I can't believe you know. It's so good.
Yeah, so I'm going to turn the camera on Stephanie before we cut back.
Yes.
Because she got dressed up today to do this.
We
And
need to
this
see
is my
Stephanie. The woman behind the man.
Hi.
Yes.
Stephanie.
Hi,
How are
Stephanie.
And so she makes it all happen.
Love
I
it.
don't think
Oh
for
my
a
gosh.
second. And
We
that
all need a
man,
Stephanie.
that man on the phone is Renee.
Hi, Renee.
He's the business side of the business.
Oh my
So,
gosh. So good. Thank
so
you
how we
so
doing on
much
time?
for this.
Are we good?
This has been phenomenal.
Hey, I've loved
Absolutely
it.
phenomenal.
And
I'm so
welcome.
excited, Kelly, because I had no idea that all of this was available. So we will definitely share this out and with the design community. This is
Thank you so
amazing.
much. It's been great getting to know you in this little bit, and I hope to see you, and all of you. I hope to see you all.
Oh, I'm your newest stalker. I'll be stalking you. Don't worry
Soon.
about that.
Soon. We all want to get back to life, and I'm hoping.
Yes. All right, you
one
two.
more thing.
Oh, yes.
Michelle Nussbaumer, this one is calling your name.
That is, oh my
Isn't that
God,
great?
that's me all over. Yes. That is stunning.
So I'll
What
leave you
is
with
that?
that. Are we good on?
Yes.
What's the name of this one?
Mariposa Mod.
It's called Mariposa
Oh.
Mod, and it's a Missoni sort of look, but it's from an
Yes.
early. Michelle walked in here with a vintage dress one day, and we said that needs to be a pattern. So
Yes.
it's clearly 60s.
Yes.
It is not Missoni. It's a no name that we sort of took liberties with and made our own little pattern of. So.
Oh my gosh.
Really cool, isn't it?
Absolutely dying.
All right, I'll send you some next week. Just let me know.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. Thank you so much
Thanks
again.
for the time, everyone.
I loved my time with you, and stay
Thank
safe
you.
and stay well.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks, Stephanie.
Bye.